and inscribed them with miniature St. Declan crosses. He'd sent one to Wendell Sharpe after each heist. Later, he'd sent them to his FBI agent granddaughter and her mentor, Matt Yankowski. A mad, frantic business that had been. He crushed the lump of mud that had dropped off Henrietta's boot under his shoe. If the drugs Verity took were in her carry-on, tucked in the herb bottle, they went right through security and customs. Is that possible these days? I suppose she could have picked up the opioids or been given them here, but why would she take them before her meeting with Wendell? Why not wait until after they'd chatted? To settle her nerves? Henrietta stared out at the pasture, but Oliver doubted she was seeing the sheep and green grass under the sunny sky. Verity might have been intimidated by Wendell's reputation, or concerned about what she was telling or asking him and where his answers would lead her. Is he under suspicion? Henrietta shook her head. I'm sure he's not. But now with Graham dead in Maine, who knows? I was beginning to think Verity's a garden-variety drug addict, and we could bow out of this little drama. She still could be, and Graham died supporting her habit. Risky to stay behind in Maine for drugs, don't you think? Henrietta rose smoothly, adjusting her skirt. Security would have taken a closer look at him, even without his wife's overdose. Easier for her to go home on schedule than for him to explain why he cancelled his flight at the last minute and stayed on in Maine. He'd never have sailed through with a stash of drugs. I'm certain of that. She examined the dahlias. I hope slugs haven't been at them. I loathe slugs. Well, they love dahlias. I didn't dare touch the leaves in case I did something wrong. Oh, you won't hurt anything. She stood straight, her cheeks flushed. Do you have any contacts in your world who might be able to help us better understand the Blackwoods? His world? But Oliver knew what she meant. I'm afraid not. Henrietta nodded thoughtfully. Just the Sharpes, I suppose. And they're in the thick of this thing. All of them. Wendell, Lucas, Emma. She slipped her hand into his. Shall we take a walk and let all this simmer for an hour? Their walk took them on one of the countless waymarked trails that crisscrossed the rolling hills and pastures of the Cotswolds. This one was mostly along lanes, no muddy footpaths, and very familiar to them since it happened to run through the York farm and wind its way to Henrietta's house. They walked hand in hand, but mostly in silence, distracted and preoccupied as they were by recent events. The smells of summer, the sounds of birds, sheep, and stream, the beauty of lush pastures and midsummer gardens were soothingly familiar. But Oliver didn't know if he'd arrived at any solutions when Henrietta left him at the table on her garden terrace. She disappeared inside to make tea and take a call. Oliver watched a butterfly in the garden. He swore Posy Balfour haunted the small house she'd had built to her specifications. It was relatively new by village standards, and constructed of brick rather than locally quarried limestone. He supposed the brick could be local. He blew out a breath. He felt helpless, useless, and faintly annoyed. He had nothing to offer the Blackwood investigation, nothing to help his friends in New England find Tamara McDermott. Henrietta said she understood his mood, but she, at least, had contacts, given her MI5 status. He was relieved when he noticed Finian Bracken texted him. "Can you please call me today?" Oliver immediately hit the number for his Irish friend in Maine. Finian answered after several rings. All of her, Dick.